How many of you remember high school? Well, you all do, most of you. So you have different ways of learning. And the teacher's always coming up with some new idea. And this teacher came up with an idea about working in teams. And not only that, you'd be graded by the team, not individually. And the students, they said, oh, no, my grade is dependent on that, other person, and I'm so great, and this and this. And so they're complaining. And the teacher says, okay, all of you out there mumbling away, you might as well get used to working in groups because, in the end, life is a group project. True, life is a group project. Now let's take another scenario. If you knew it was your last day on earth, that tomorrow your life would end, okay? Maybe not like that. Maybe you just fall asleep. What would you do today on your last day? Most people would probably not try to squeeze in one more day at the work, or another TV show. Oh, I got to see how that season ends. No, they'd probably spend that day looking up friends and loved ones and telling them one last time that I love you. Those words have a power. They hold a power when given from the heart. I know. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in the tears in their eyes. People are touched by the simple act of saying, I love you. It's very personal, isn't it? 3 words. These 3 words perhaps are the most important words in our language. Well, I gave a sermon last spring. It was about a lady who used as a daily mantra the phrase, I love myself. This too holds the power to transform, which is the power of love. Perhaps we think our loved ones are, they must surely know that we love them. But even if they do, they need to hear it. You don't need to use poetry, flowery language, long, lengthy explanation. Not necessary. Just 3 simple words are usually enough. The power of these words lies in their straightforward purity. I love you. Includes no conditions, no limitations. It gives no explanation, no justification. It simply declares to one heart what another heart feels. And likewise, you need to hear it. From your own lips to your own heart. Say this with me. I love myself. We cannot love ourselves without loving those around us. Have you noticed? Moonlight, with its soft, silvery tones and the enchanting mood it casts, has captured our fancy for centuries. It has been the subject of countless poems, songs, serenades, evening walks. We marvel at how bright a full moon can seem sometimes, even though we know it is merely a reflection of a much greater light, the sun. In fact, our full moon at its very brightest only reflects about 12% of the light it receives. All around us, objects reflect or absorb light. Snow reflects a great deal of light which shines on it, while black asphalt absorbs it, which explains why roads are so hot on a sunny day. And what about us? How much light do we reflect? Do we brighten the world for others? Or do we only take, pulling in energy, but never giving any back? Like black asphalt. There are countless ways to share our light with others. When we extend a helping hand, when we take time to listen, when we give a sincere compliment, when we teach a child, we are reflecting light. Mother Teresa said, every time you smile at someone, it's an act of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. Yes, even something as simple as a smile reflects light and love back into the world. Unlike the moon, snow, or asphalt, we can choose how much light we give. We hold the power to decide, to reflect the good around us, which helps others to see the bright side, or not. Very often, our goal is to provide as much light as we can. We inspire others to do the same. If everyone made this simple choice, perhaps our collective radiance would be enough to light up the whole world. Wouldn't that be marvelous? Here's a spoon. See it? Let's go back in time to a day when this would be made of silver. And what do you do with silverware? You polish it or have the servants do it. If you held a polished spoon up in front of you, you would see your reflection upside down. Quite a good one, in fact. After all, mirrors are backed with silver. This is not silver. You can hardly see the reflection. But a silver spoon, polished, you see your reflection. There's just one problem. Your image will be upside down. Aren't you glad the rear view mirror in your car doesn't do that? So, if you turn it this way, so the back is facing you, then your image is right side up, but there's still a problem. Your left side is on your right, and your right side is on your left. Oh, you scratch your nose by looking at it and you're scratching the wrong side of your face. Can't tell where your hands are going. The image isn't right. What if you want to see what you really look like? You can take a picture of yourself with a camera, like a selfie. But then a photo is just an image and not the real you. Spoons, cameras. What do we do? What do we use to see the real you? The only way you can is to close your eyes. A paradox. Go ahead, close your eyes. Now look within. Who do you see? Well, if you're like me, you see a multitude standing there milling around like the ultimate personality disorder ever. Which one is the real you? The only one looking directly at you, eyes unflinching, a smile in his or her face. In the Old Testament, one of the words translated as hope literally means a cord or a rope or tether. When we tether ourselves to someone or something, we expect the same destiny as the person or thing we are tied to. When we tether ourselves to this true image of ourself, we can expect to be supported by this true self, be lifted up by it, and eventually to merge with it so that we are living a true image of our life the way it was meant to be. That is hope. Your eyes are still closed. Keep this image of yourself in front of you. Then give that cord a little tug, whoosh, to encourage your true self to walk up to you. Now embrace. give this true self a loving hug and receive one back from him or her. Hug them so completely that they are pulled right into your body. This true self is now standing inside of you, filling you with its light and love. Next, kneel together at the altar of your body, which is your heart, side by side, and give the entire world a loving hug. This is a very old meditation, held sacred by those who have made it a part of their daily practice. Its purpose is to wake up the heart. What does that mean, to wake up the heart? Your heart becomes a doorway into the infinite. When life forces flow through a particular part of your body, it becomes flavored with the energy of that part. In the case of your heart, life force flows through the heart and becomes love, divine love, and flows from there into the rest of your body. Here is a mudra that will help your heart awaken. Like so, over the heart. And you see it, it's like this, but it's over the heart. Let's do this meditation again. Close your eyes. Envision your true self standing in front of you. Embrace. Then lovingly pull that person into your body. A light explodes inside your body as your true self expands to fill you. Next, kneel together at the altar of your body, which is your heart, and give the entire world a loving hug. Do the meditation until it becomes an experience. Here's a story. On a recent flight during some rainy weather, there's this young boy, and he's looking out the window. He's sitting next to his dad. And as the airplane rose through the clouds, then beyond into the calm blue sky of a sunny day, the boy turned to his father, sharing his new discovery. Look, if you go up high enough, it's always sunny. How true. Above the clouds, the sun is bright and the sky crystal clear. But we occasionally forget the sunshine above as we bundle up against the storms here below. On the ground, it sometimes feels as if there's no end to life's buffeting winds, rooting clouds and chilling rain. Do we forget that there is such a thing as love? That's the sunshine, and it's radiating outward from here, your heart, from your heart. No one lives life without trials and setbacks, but even during our personal storms, divine light is always there above the clouds to give us inner peace, reassurance, and strength that we may learn and grow from our trials and become better people closer to the image of our true self. Let us remember, as we climb up through the storm clouds of life, that our problems, like the weather, will in time pass. It all has to do with the raising of our life force upward into the higher chakras, or light centers of the body. There is a path towards this end, which I'd like to share with you. It's the simplest thing to do, a simple gesture, but also one of the most difficult things to do. A story. For years, a certain family was plagued by resentment. Various members refused to speak to each other. Weddings went unattended. The children grew up without knowing their cousins. The years had given family members plenty of time to justify their behavior and blame the others for their injustices. And then, in a sudden impulse of generosity, a young aunt sent a package of school supplies to her brother's children. It wasn't expensive. It wasn't grandiose. It was just one simple gesture. But like a drop of rain on patched, cracked soil, it caught the attention of a family thirsty for kindness. A thank you note was written, a phone call made, a caring comment was spoken. Feelings began to soften. And now a holiday feast is being planned. The prospects for healing and forgiveness are bright, like the sun. And it all began with a small investment in a few notebooks and markers. So in a way, that was my family, except the notebooks and pens were never sent, and I don't even know who my cousins are to this day on one side of the family. I don't blame anyone, but it was a silly thing to do. What can you say? Maybe I should try to reach out to them. They wouldn't know who I am. Well, I'll just blame it on someone else. So, maybe I should do that. Of course, reaching out with compassion across a bitter chasm is not easy. No. It may even seem impossible, and it always requires patience and persistence. But often just one simple gesture of kindness is enough to set in motion a series of actions that convey love and goodwill, strong enough to soothe any wound. We see the powerful impact of small gestures every day. The people who thank returning soldiers at an airport, a group of teens who visit patients in a hospital, even a young girl picking up the keys dropped by an elderly woman. These simple gestures seem small, but they stay forever in the hearts of the people they bless. Like sunshine, shining through a small crack in a dungeon wall, one small gesture can bring warmth to cold hearts. By responding to even the smallest of generous impulses, we just may witness a miracle that not only softens the hearts of others, but also brings unexpected joy into our own heart. In 1948, 3 years after World War II, Stalin made a grab for all of Eastern Europe, leaving over 2 million people in West Berlin isolated and desperate for basic necessities. To help relieve their suffering, the Allies began airlifting supplies. One of the pilots, Gail Halvorsen, met some destitute but hopeful West Berlin children through a barbed wire fence near the runway. He wished he could give them something, but all he had was 2 sticks of gum. When he saw how much they cherished this small gift, he got an idea. Ooh, do you like it when ideas come over you? You just get an idea. And he says, I'm going to do it. What did he do? Well, he talked to his fellow pilots, and they all decided that they were going to deliver more than food and fuel. Gale and his fellows flyers began dropping candy tied to little parachutes to the children. Now, word quickly spread about the candy bombers. And before long, people were sending handkerchiefs to serve as parachutes. And candy manufacturers were donating endless pounds of candy. Better than Halloween. Gale's little idea had captured hearts everywhere. Here's a conversation between broadcast person Tom Brooklaw and Gail Halvorsen. You grew up on a small farm. Everything that you and your father and your family got, you had to earn. Absolutely. Then you got thrown into the Army Corps and as a pilot, fighting the biggest war ever. And then the war ended and you got that idea of dropping candy over West Berlin for the children. Whatever made you think of that? Tom, it's like this. When things are tough, you have to help people. Like your neighbors. As a youth, I'd hurry and get through thinning the sugar beets on our own field, and then help somebody else. And sometimes they wouldn't have anything to give you, but you knew you had to serve others. That joy and fulfillment in life comes from service, getting outside yourself. It's the synergy between service before self and the responding gratitude, the expressed gratitude that comes back. Service is something we can do, even in small ways, even in the worst of times, as the candy bomber demonstrated. Every once in a while, along comes someone who pens a poem that captures the hearts of a generation and then lives forever. Well, John McGee Jr. was such a man. Early in World War II, this 18-year-old John McGee enlisted in the Royal Canadian Air Force. He progressed quickly and soon became a pilot officer. One day, while testing a new high-altitude plane at 30,000 feet, imagine that. That's not hard now, but it was brand new back then. And Officer McGee was awestruck by what he saw and felt. Upon landing, he put his experience into words in the immortal poem High Flight, which he wrote on the back of a letter to his parents. Here is the poem. Oh, I have slipped the surly bounds of earth and danced the skies on laughter's silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence, hovering there. I have chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up, the long delirious burning blue. I have topped the wind-swept heights with easy grace, where never lark or ever eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, I put out my hand and touch the face of God. The heart. The heart. Your heart. Let it be that aircraft for you, to carry you above the bounds of earth, to heavenly things, to loftier things, to love unknown by all those who choose to roam the realms of dust and darkness. We need not look further than our own heart, for therein lies the secret something which will light up even the darkest sky in the darkest hour. So look upward into the throes of pain or difficulty. There you will find love. There you will find your true self, tied securely to the cord called hope. And you are holding the other end of that cord. Don't let go. No matter what, don't let go.